Storytelling Podcast, episode number 67. Welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, where everything's fictional, even you. And now, here are your hosts, two guys and a girl who lie for a living, Garrett, Zach, and Chrissy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, the podcast that's all about fiction, and more fiction, and telling the best truths through the medium of lies. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-hosts ZC Bolger, Scott Richards, and Chrissy Moss. Zach, what is happening over there? You're muted.
I was taking the wrapper off my Gatorade so it wasn't crinkly.
Nice, well done. I appreciate that as the show producer. Yes, this is the podcast where we talk about.
He opens the Pringles.
Zach, I'm gonna beat you. We talk about writing, books, filmmaking, all that sort of stuff, and we have no idea what we're doing. Clearly, since I didn't know what episode number it was. And other good stuff. How's it going, guys?
Oh, fantastic.
Do we have
really good about this show.
a topic tonight? Or do we at least have that?
We're not getting on topic for like half an hour. Oh,
No,
you didn't see Scott?
Do we have one? Yeah, I saw it.
Scott picked the topic.
I don't know what it is, but surprise me. Don't tell me.
We'll surprise you. We won't tell you. Even though the name was in the frickin' hangout that you...
I don't look at that. I just hit allow or join or whatever.
You actual
You're professionals.
I actually, I was the one that made us late today. Garrett texted me. I was downstairs making Halloween decorations. I got a text from Garrett. Hey, where are you? I was like, oh, no. And so I texted him back real fast and ran upstairs. And he never received it.
Well,
I sent that to somebody.
Because he actually texted his fiance.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Cool. Anybody have any weekly updates? What's been going on with everybody?
I do.
Go ahead, Zach.
All right. So I talked about last week about this going to the school and how I found out it was, in a low-income area and a lot of the kids can't buy the book. And I was going to be using the profits from pre-ordered book sales to pay for my traveling expense since I have to drive from California to Arizona to get over there. But they only had about 10 pre-orders, 7 pre-orders. And I've decided
that's clearly enough to pay for a road trip to Arizona.
But so I decided to go anyway. And so I'm going to be going out there. I drive out there on the 13th. And I started a GoFundMe account. And the reason for that is because the kids there can't afford the book, but they all really want the book. So I thought, you know what, I would put up a GoFundMe account. Maybe people would be interested in, giving $5, and that would buy a book for a kid. I'm going to make no profit off of it or anything, and there's about 125 kids. I don't even get any stats from it because I'm going to be getting it through CreateSpace, so it's not going to be going on my Amazon stats. It's strictly just get the kids some books. So yeah, I started that.
Oh, Zach, that's awesome. Yeah. And it's nice that you've graduated from Kickstarter. That's cool.
Well, Kickstarter would have taken way too long.
Yeah, totally. When are you coming in town anyway?
I fly in the 7th, so next Friday.
Oh my God. Gosh. Yeah. Not the next show, but the show after that, you're going to be broadcasting from LA. If you're broadcasting at all, which you might not be.
I need to make sure I take all my stuff.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Well, you can just go sit in the office with him.
Oh, yeah, that won't be annoying and irritating at all. He's like pushing. I want to say something. I want to say
so Cameron. Sharing one
make
microphone.
Our show way more interesting.
I would just watch that one. I don't even think I could participate. I would just...
I just sit here and laugh at you guys.
Just the whole time.
Fantastic.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I've had a good week. I'm still working on getting Danny Calloway onto Lightning Source, the paperback, so that I can start doing cool stuff with it. And but yeah,
dropping it off at airports.
Yeah, dropping it off at airports. I've been mostly working on wedding stuff, so
cool.
Takes up a lot of time.
Well, I've had a fun week. Well, first of all, today my video of my vlog that I posted today has more views than like any of my videos for like several weeks, because I posted about the Marvel thing. It's about the
Oh my God!
Oh
so
my
it has more
God!
than the one you posted about the other thing.
Yes, more people care about the Marvel event than Gamergate, and
Makes
it makes
more
me
sense.
happy.
I appreciate that. That makes me
like-
totally happy.
Yay!
Dude, I think Black Panther's gonna be showing up in Avengers.
No, he's going to be in Captain America 3. He's going to
But
definitely.
if you watch the trailer, it looks like they're in his country? I forget. Yeah, it looks like they're in there. If you look at the license plates of some of the cars, yeah, and Ultron
I need to
covers
go watch
himself-
the trailer now.
Yeah, Ultron.
Well-
There's a part where you see Ultron's hand and it's like dripping in like metal, and he's covering himself in the stuff that Captain America's shield is made out of, and that comes from Black Panther's country.
Actually, isn't he made of adamantium?
No, the shield is made of vibranium.
No, the shield is, but
No.
Ultron is supposed to be made of adamantium.
Oh, is he really? Oh, crap.
Yeah, I went and read up on it
Is
because
he?
I was really interested in it. And the first instance of adamantium ever mentioned in Marvel is when Ultron is created.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I
Balls.
heard that he's covering himself in vibranium, which comes from. I keep wanting to say Uganda, but
Wakanda.
yeah.
Uganda. That would actually be kind of cool. We have a couple of live comments. The next manga. Oh, I'm actually here for the beginning. Hi, next manga king. I bow down before you, I guess. And Rachel Davis said that episode could be like the last drinking episode. I mean, the Marvel superhero episode. That would be cool. We should do a Marvel superhero episode. Didn't we already talk about this?
Yes.
We did a superhero episode.
Yeah, that's right. We did the trivia episode.
Yeah,
Honestly, that was a little lackluster. We need to figure out a format for a game episode that we can do like once every couple of months, but we all have to commit to doing a
I committed.
trivia.
I'm committed.
No.
I committed last time. I was there. I was all.
We're not talking about felonies, Scott.
Well, either way, I was committed. So
Oh, okay.
really, let's not focus too strongly on the details. It's just I was there.
Okay.
But the last week has been super interesting for me because like I've mentioned before, I have to usually once a month, usually in the later half of the year, not in the first half of the year so much, but usually I have to fill in the rest of my income with freelance work, and so I've been hired by Jim Crawl from Author Marketing Club and by Sean to do commercials for both of them, but like very motion graphics commercials. And Chrissy, you'll know this. I'm actually making them look a lot like Thought Bubble. Scott, you might know that as well. It's melting my brain. Like, I'm not an animator. I'm having to learn everything while I do it for the first time. But that means, conversely, that I will now know how to do it for the future, and like I could add from my own channel.
New skills.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. It's good. It's fun stuff. And then there's another really, really awesome thing that's happening, but actually I don't want to really talk about it yet because I feel like I'm going to change it when
people do that.
No, but there's
a thing, but I'm not going to tell you.
What I can tell you is are you guys on the Sterling and Stone email list?
Yeah.
You get the email from Sean about Axis of Aaron?
I don't.
I think so.
Okay, well, Jason Whited is their editor,
Right.
and he's edited your stuff too, right?
Right.
Yeah, and
He's my editor too. Yeah.
Yeah, so he emailed them and he was just like, dude, Axis is like the best thing you've ever done. It's going to change the world of self-publishing and yada yada yada. And it was they put that in their newsletter this week, and I was like, okay. So I jumped into Dropbox and I literally grabbed their Scrivener file, exported off a copy of the ebook, and I told Sean a couple of days later, I was like, by the way, I totally jacked a copy of Axis of Aaron. He's like, oh no, that's totally cool. And I read the book this weekend because I could not stop. It's so good. It's so good. Oh God, it's so good. Obviously, I mean, I just said this, but like full disclosure, like I occasionally work for them. But oh my God, it's still so good, guys. Oh, Lord.
I started listening to the Beam today.
Yeah.
With all the different voices and everything, and it's kind of awesome the way they've done it.
Yeah, the Beam is good. The Beam is really, really good. It's probably their best fiction.
Well, I just mean the audio.
Right. Oh, you mean like the quality of the audiobook production? Yeah. But dude, Axis, oh my God, it's so good.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one.
And it's gonna be for them. Sean has said this over and over again, and he's completely correct. It's going to be for them what Rebel Yell is for me, where not that many people are going to buy it. All of the people who go to them for sci-fi and fantasy are going to be like, cool, it sounds interesting, but when are you giving me the next season of The Beam or whatever? But the people who read it are going to be like, dude, this is like the best thing you've ever written. It's so good. As
they said, literary as fuck.
Exactly. Honestly, I don't know that necessarily applies because I don't know. It's hard. I guess it's literary, but only because it's not a genre. But when I think of literary, it just doesn't feel like a literary style, I guess. But it's just an amazing story that deals with like a lot of themes. So in that sense, it's literary. But it's not like when I wrote Rebel Yell, I tried to like make my style something that I'd never done before and something very unusual. And this feels like a Johnny and Sean book, but it's just it's so hard to talk about it because there's so many spoilers. So many spoilers. Anyway. But that was my weekend, and I could not afford the time that I spent reading that book. And I read it anyway because, like, once you get past like the third chapter, like, God help you, you will not be able to.
It's like Pringles. Once you pop, you just can't stop.
I don't want you to say that again until Pringles is giving us money.
Okay. It's like heroin.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want you to say that again until heroin is giving us money.
Well, I'm already. Didn't I tell you? You guys know I'm. Okay, never mind.
Where's my cut of royalties on that?
Anyways. So that's fun.
An update.
Yeah, tell us what's happening.
Yay. I completely finished book 1 of my Mermaid series.
Good job.
Hooray.
So, yeah, I finished that today, and I am almost done with this book 2. So I'm hoping that if I do it right, I can have them come out every 3 months apart.
Yay!
Which would be ideal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like totes super awesome. And most important question, are you happy with it?
Well, once it gets an edit, I will be.
Trick question. You should never be happy.
Never be happy with your own books. Nah,
well, I'm happy enough to let it go. Let's put it that way. It's never finished.
You're happy enough to let it go.
I knew that was coming too.
Come on, guys, let's do this. We can do it.
I was waiting. I was just like, There it is.
You wanna build a snowman?
Have you guys seen the unnecessary censorship on Frozen?
Yes.
Oh,
Not on Frozen.
Good. Dude, so amazing. Do you want to
build a
snowman?
I'm pretty sure that's the best one.
That's pretty incredible.
What about Scott?
Yeah, Scott, what's happening with you, brother? How's it going?
It just start, stop with the writing. My child is now sick, so.
Wow.
Yep. And that's just taking up more time than normal and cutting into everything else, as it were. Thank you. Somehow I feel better.
I heard the bell go off of that, and I just went, oh, crap.
God damn it.
I knew it was coming. I was like, something's happening.
That's too bad. I am similarly having difficulty finding time for my writing, which is so irritating. It's literally the worst. The thing about it is that when I have to do the extra freelance stuff, that always is more. It's so time consuming. Like this video edit thing. Like editing isn't so bad when I can get when I get editing jobs or somebody like asks me or whatever. That's not so bad. And I'm thinking, like, I was trying to move away from that, and now I'm thinking maybe I need to do more of that. Like, whenever I have freelance, just start like marketing the editing more because it's the devil I know, like,
Right.
takes time, but I know how much time it's going to take me, so it's easy to plan and predict. This video thing, they were like, hey, this commercial thing, do it, and I was like, oh, that sounds great. I can probably do that over the weekend. Ha! Ha ha! No, I could not. So anyway, for everybody out there, waiting for Mystic, I'm sorry, I am getting to it, and dude, the rest of the book is going to be so good. I got the first episode out, and I am determined to get episode 2 out by Thursday. Because on Friday, I'm going somewhere else. I'm doing something.
I continue having people ask me about Ninja Bread Man 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, but they're asking me, going, so has Garrett done it yet? I'm like,
Yeah.
nope. I have washed my hands of this.
Until he gives me the first.
Send all communication to him.
Yeah.
Wait. So we're sending all of our complaints to him now?
Yes.
No,
I
tweet
can't keep
complaints
up
to
with
at
this.
Juicy Bulger.
It wouldn't be the same if it wasn't at CC Bulger.
What?
Not a,
I said it wouldn't be the same unless we were sending it at ZC Bulger.
You know what's funny, though, is that, like, I don't think I actually got any tweets until, like, I think last month I got my first, like, complaint from...
Well, I think it was because an in-joke that, like, pretty much everyone was in on from the beginning. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I
should've
only
started
remember
sending.
once you complaining about it, and that they weren't sending complaints; they were sending something else completely off the wall and random that was very sexual in nature or something.
Yeah. I remember that. They said during one episode, they were like, everybody get on Twitter right now and tweet Zach Pleh. And they all, like, everybody jumped on and, like, tweeted you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that was like
What the
6
hell's
weeks
And
ago?
you're like, what the hell?
What the F? But this weekend I'm going to Kamikaze. I was
What's
totally...
going
Yeah,
Let's go.
I know. I was totally not planning to go at all. And then, actually, the same guy who funded the short film that I did a few weeks ago, he's coming down for it. And he was like, hey, Garrett, I'm buying you tickets to Kamikaze. You and your wife, bring the kids. I was like,
Okay.
Wow. You know what you should do?
Okay.
You should get some Realm Keeper handouts.
yeah, that would be great.
If I were to send you some, would you hand them out?
You mean like the episode 1s?
Yeah.
Do you have
But,
more?
like, no, I'm talking about, like, I'll get little cards made up with a QR code on them with free book.
Oh, yeah,
And then
totally. Yeah, if you get those printed up, like I have no time to do something like that, but if you get them printed up, I will hand them out like a mother.
Done. Expect 1,000.
Okay. I will. If you give me 1,000, I guarantee you I will leave 1,000 at Kamikaze. I will
I
hand.
don't want you just leaving a box
No.
of them.
No, I will hand as many as I can.
They're in the
No.
trash.
What I meant to say with that is, like, I can't promise you I'm going to hand out 1,000, but I'm going to hand out as many as I can, and I will surreptitiously leave stacks on tables at booths, like nobody's looking. Drop a stack of 50, and just have people go, oh, what's this in the Avengers booth? What's this?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
They're usually held at, is this a convention center or is it a hotel?
Yeah, Anaheim Convention Center.
No, okay.
I got these ones from Moo that are just little cards, and they have QR codes on the back with.
Yeah, like that.
Yay!
Except
Yay
it's going
for
to say
QR
free book
code.
on it.
Yeah,
Those
and
are
they
the best things
just
ever.
on Moo site they just make your QR code right there and add it to the card, so it's all built in. It's like $20 for 200 of them.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's totes awesome. Yeah, Zach, if you get me some of those, I'm all
I will.
over it, bro. All over it.
I'm going to order them tonight. You'll get them. Wait, are you going this weekend?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Ooh.
Just order them and ship them to my address. They should get there. Like,
Give them a rush
Yeah,
order.
I'll look into it tonight.
do it. Cool.
BT Dub, Friday is Halloween. I really hope that our topic is something Halloweenish.
It is.
Okay, good.
See, this is one of those moments where it would have been
Halloween.
great for you to like actually be involved in the Google Hangout conversation that you were actually in, or to see the title, because then you'd know. Then you would know, Zach.
Whatever.
Do we have anything else before we get on topic? I felt like I had something else.
Well, I still don't know what the topic is, but you guys, if the topic has anything to do with what you're going to be dressing up as, I kind of want to know.
I'm not dressing up for Halloween. This year I'm
Why
just
not?
like a lot of reasons, but the two big ones are like time to put a costume together because I hate that store-bought costume shit. Two is money. Like, I mean, that's a consideration. So, but mostly it's the time thing.
You're going to be a father then.
Yeah, exactly.
Going
I'm
as a
gonna be
father.
an author. I'm gonna walk around with no shoes and like tattered jeans and no shirt and be
There
like,
you go.
I went as a ghostwriter a couple weeks ago.
You've
I mean,
seen
couple years ago.
you've seen Buffy, right? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
yeah, of course.
I saw the movie.
The one with Seth Green.
Yeah.
Where he shows up and they're like, "Where's your outfit?" And he opens his coat and he's got a little name tag that says, "Hello, my name is God."
Well done, Seth Green. Well done. There's a quote I saw on Tumblr the other day from him, and it's composed of about it's a gift set, a bunch of gifs of him on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's like all of his best lines and everything, and then it's a quote from him like just a couple of years ago where he's like, I don't know if you realize, but like literally the best things that have ever come out of my mouth were all on Buffy. They were all on Buffy.
And what
Yeah.
about you, Chrissy? What are you dressing up as?
He had some fantastic ones.
I have a steampunk outfit that if we're going somewhere, that's what I'm going to wear.
Steampunk.
Steampunk is awesome.
I mean,
Yeah, I just have a bucket of stuff that I keep. So I have corsets and long skirts and all the stuff for making either a wenches or steampunk or something outfit. And I just, that's what I keep because I like dressing up.
Huzzah.
Keep it in a bucket.
hell yeah.
Yep.
In a bucket.
In a
In a
bucket.
bucket.
Can you keep it
Put
on
holes
a
in the
boat?
bottom,
Can you keep it
pull
with a
out
goat?
Would you win a car?
Would I by far?
I'm going to go as a spider exterminator because my house has bodies hanging from it and very large spiders around, like hanging off the roof. I heard a kid crying outside the other night.
Oh God.
Nice.
Zach,
You have a dog. You can put the dog in the spider outfit.
Yeah, I could.
that video is amazing.
I know, isn't it?
DC Soldier making children cry.
I'm gonna be handing out candy, but so I'll be like, oh, I think I got them all. I'm gonna turn around to get the candy, and I'm just gonna my entire back's gonna be covered in spiders.
Oh my God. People are going to like freak out. Dude, if you don't get punched by some overprotective dad, I will be surprised.
I have another person that's dressing up as one of the dead bodies, and they're gonna jump out and scare
no.
people.
They're going to be assaulted. Like they're going to be punched.
Well, not little kids, but that's okay.
That's
I told-
worse. Little
Yeah, well-
kids won't punch you. The big kids, adults will punch you.
I told them that. I was like, look, I'm not into that. You can do that. I'm more of like, I like the spookiness, not the I'm going to make you pee your pants.
The jump scares.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Scott, what did we say? What are you dressing up as?
God.
My lady is having a birthday party because she was born November 1st.
Yay.
So she's having her birthday party just for Halloween, and it's going to be zombie themed. So we're going to have a party here.
So what are you gonna go as?
Santa.
Is it a zombie Santa?
Change it up. Went to the thrift store and got some office garments I'm going to shred. And one can never go wrong with a nice big bottle of fake blood.
There you go.
Let me see what I can do with this.
Are you
Bottle of fake blood.
do you only have $20 in your pocket because you went to the thrift shop?
Did you pop some tags?
So
That was
funny.
oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize to all of our listeners.
I'm just letting it happen.
Speaking of all of our listeners, we're up to date on the podcast. Like, this is episode 67. 66 is posted. I mean, we're up to date. There's a lot of episodes missing in the middle.
Not that we're done.
But we're up to date. So, yay. And people are listening again. That was very heartening when I updated, when I uploaded. It immediately started getting downloads, and Libsyn was like, "You've got 400 downloads." I was like, "Oh my god! Hi guys! Sorry we were gone. There would probably be a lot more listeners if we hadn't, if I hadn't screwed up the audio hosting and people hadn't unsubscribed. Like, fuck, guess that podcast's dead."
Yeah.
I make you this promise right now: if this
Don't make any promises, Garrett.
No. If this podcast ever does die, I will do like a farewell. Like, that's the thing, is that people, I've had people go, like when I don't vlog for a week. People are like, "Oh, did you quit your vlog?" I'm like, "No, if I ever did that, I would make a video saying that I'm quit." Like, the only project that I've ever actually abandoned is the Game of Geeks podcast, the one that I did with David back in the day. And we had a farewell episode. We were like, "Hey, guys, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to be moving on, blah, 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 blah."
Books and Beer did that. They stopped having podcasts, and then a year later they decided to say, "Oh, by the way, we're not doing this anymore."
That's sad.
You don't say.
Rachel Davis said Ninja Bread Man 2 will be done when Zach just skips Garrett and writes it himself.
I already wrote it, basically.
And Dylan Perry said, "A little late, but I'm here." Hello, all. Hey, Dylan. How's it going? How it's going? So I guess we can get on topic. Tonight's topic: creating fear and suspense in writing.
That's not Halloween.
I'll tell you. Okay, number one tip for creating fear and suspense. Shit, where's the sound effect? God damn it. God damn it.
See, this is the suspense part.
There we go.
And
That's how you do it.
That was successful.
Yeah, that was
So
awesome.
do any of us actually write any horror? Oh, Scott kind of does.
I have written. I've actually attempted to write horror stories before.
Cool.
I've accidentally done it.
I have horror titles.
Ooh, Zach wins.
Yeah. and I have horror covers, which I think I've shown Garrett before. And I have a horror pen name. I just haven't written anything yet.
What's your horror? He'll steal it.
What?
I said, "What's your horror pen name?" But then I said, "Don't say it because somebody will steal it."
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody'd steal it. Somebody might steal it.
I think it's really cool. I'll just say it anyway. It's Mr. Hyde, and I just have a silhouette of a guy with a top hat.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Clear picture.
Clever. Very clever.
That sounds familiar.
So, Scott, this was your topic. Why don't you start us off?
Use your words and be scary.
And that's the show, people.
Well done, Scott.
Take it away, Zach.
So proud of you right now. God, I'm proud.
I'm here at your service, and I'm glad I could service you.
Ooh, a bunny.
Ooh, buddy. And for those on the audio, I'm wearing a T-shirt that's somewhat related to that statement. So writing horror, suspense,
Creating fear.
Now, this is something that I'm still working at. I absolutely claim no expertise in, so by all means, feel free to jump in and cut me off. I'm just kidding. I know you.
All right, let me tell you what I do.
Good job. For me, it's hard for me as a writer to write suspense or to build mystery because I know where it's going. I know who did it. I know where the plot's headed. I know, So for me, when I'm writing, it's hard for me to be able to feel if this is going to be suspenseful at all. It's like, have I given it away? Is this just completely in a vacuum? Like, what is happening? And I tend to rely really heavily on beta readers for that. Like, normally I send it to beta readers when it's completed, but if I'm writing something that, mystery or suspense is supposed to be a big part of it, I'll send it periodically throughout just to make sure that we're on track. And by we, I mean me, and I'm just schizophrenic. So some of the keys that have helped me have been realizing that what creates fear in the reader is attachment to the character, or at least that I've noticed. If they don't care what happens to the main character, they're not going to be worried for him when he's in danger, or she, as the case may be. Or it, if you're writing about a dog. Who knows? So making sure you build a relatable character, I think, is important for that. Another thing is whether you're writing for horror or for suspense, like whether you're going for the gore or whether you're going for the creepy, the shadows, where there shouldn't be shadows, the gentle footsteps behind you, the soft titter of a baby's laughter at 2 a.m. when you don't have any children, stuff like that. You kind of build it up a little bit. So, you like that?
I stole another baby in my sleep.
So yeah, these are the main points for me as far as building good stories. Just a little bit of foreshadowing usually helps, and then I do think that this is one of those things where like Chekhov's gun actually does apply, but that may just be my opinion, my style.
Oh, if you see a gun, you're going to use it later?
Yeah, don't present something if it's not pertinent to the story. I think that you can kind of get away with it in like fantasy and some sci-fi stuff, because you're just building the world. But I think really with like mystery and suspense and stuff like that, even minor details should have some kind of a point. They should be building toward. And then at that point, it's just as a writer, you just have fun with it, trying to create false leads, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I want to mention specifically something that you said there, which I think is extremely, extremely important, which is making the reader care about your character first. Because if you don't do that, and a lot of people seem to have a problem with this, which doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult of a concept, but like if you don't make the reader care, they won't care. Like that sounds too simple for words, but it's so easy to screw that up. And the way I see people screw it up most often is by starting off right in the she heard a creaking step, she heard a thing. It's like that's the first thing, and it's like, if the first line of your book is like, Nancy heard a creaking floorboard upstairs and her heart froze in her chest, it's like, well, I guess that's a way to start a book, but right off the bat, I don't know who Nancy is. Is she maybe she's a fucking child molester? Why do I care about Nancy? Why do I care if she's afraid?
Right.
That's the most common way I see that misused. And one genre that I think uses that exact approach a lot is your procedural type crime dramas or whatever. Supernatural, for example, does that every week. It starts off with an episode of random generic person being killed by a monster. There, it's sort of appropriate because it's like you don't actually care about the person. You care. Yeah. Right, they are the crime that's going to be solved that week, so that works.
Yeah,
but
it kind of just shows the danger before the hero gets there.
Exactly. You see, this thing kills people, and then the person that you actually care about shows up, and then you're like, oh, you're going to die like the first person did, and that can work.
That's like the Harry Potter novel that started with Innkeeper that ended up dying from Voldemort, right?
Right. And you just see that, and you're like, okay, what's that? And then you see that it's a vision of Harry's, and you're like, oh, crap.
Right.
What does this mean?
I know we're talking about writing, but a really good example of this would be the first Scream movie.
Yeah.
It's like, spoiler alert, they killed Drew Barrymore, like, right up front. like right in the beginning, and so it lets you get to know the killer's MO, so that as it starts happening with later characters, you recognize what's happening before the protagonist knows what's happening. And I think that's also important, is giving the reader just enough extra information so that they know something that the character doesn't know. So then you get that whole yelling at the book thing. Don't go in there.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
It's not horror, but C.J. Lyons' Snakeskin did that to me. There was any of you guys read that book?
No, I have it on
Which
my
one?
iPad, but
Snakeskin, C.J. Lyons. There is well, I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a barn. And
Whoa.
yeah,
Barn.
there's a barn.
I don't need to read it. Thanks.
And at one point, the main character, a character goes to the barn, and like you're literally like that's the most physiological reaction I've ever gotten from a book, where I was just like, oh my God, because shit had happened in the barn before. Again, shit had happened in the barn before to characters that you didn't necessarily care about. So maybe this is something that's interesting to know about. Is interesting to think about. Is you misuse it if you throw your main character into danger right away, but you can sacrifice people to the danger beforehand and then have your main character enter the situation later, and it becomes more terrifying.
yeah, that makes sense for the
That's where-
opening of a book, I think.
Prologues are really good for that.
Yeah.
In my opinion. See, I'm a fan of the prologue. I know there's a lot of people that like hiss and burn at the mention of prologues. I think that a good prologue can do a lot for a story.
Yeah, I think so too.
You're muted, Garrett.
I am muted, thank you very much. I'm personally inclined to agree with you, is all I said.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
I agree as well. I think that there's another aspect, though, which is writing scenes. And for me, when writing suspense scene, I like to, especially if they're kids, and I go back to the days when I would play hide and go seek, and you're hiding, and you get so nervous that you have to pee, and every little sound, you're thinking, oh, somebody's gonna find me because of that sound, So I feel like certain perceptions are heightened when you're in that kind of situation, and I like to try to communicate that to the reader as well and put them in those shoes.
And also your sense of paranoia,
Right.
that the danger or whatever it is can hear everything that you're hearing.
Right, exactly, and will mistake it for it being you.
Yeah.
You hear a cricket, and you're like, "Oh, that cricket." Or like in Danny Calloway, there's a part where he's hiding, and he's talking about how he hears the sound of his heart in his own chest, and he's like, how is this guy not able to hear this? It's like drumming in my head kind of thing.
Yeah, I think like in that vein, physiological like it's easy to overdo it, but physiological reaction goes a long way toward heightening the reader's own reaction. Kind of just describing like what's going on like with the body of your main character. But again, if it goes on for like 2 paragraphs, it's like, I get it.
Right, exactly. I honestly think that you should really have one thing. It's like, okay, yeah, he has butterflies in his stomach. That's one idea of what your character's going through, which somebody that can taste bile in their mouth because they're about to throw up because it's so suspenseful is a whole different realm of nervousness that they're in.
Right. Yeah, totally.
One thing I like to do is I actually like looking up studies on the biological effects of fear on the human body and why certain things feel a certain way. And so instead of just claiming like a symptom, I like to think of what the body's actually doing at that point and how the character might actually interpret that as being a different thing. So instead of just saying, oh, he felt, a shiver went down his spine, there's actual studies that show the blood pulls from your hands in your arms to go to your legs to prepare you to run, so your hands feel cold. And so, instead his fingers could start cramping, and his palms go like tingly, things like that.
That's interesting, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like as a reader, I might get lost in that description, not having that data. Not
Well, like
knowing
I said,
it.
You just mentioned the fingers, but
Yeah.
me as the writer, I go deeper.
Right.
Yeah.
I always go deep. Garrett knows that.
Fuck you.
Success. I had something else I was going to say. I don't recall. Go ahead. Chrissy, do you have anything to add? We've been bogarting the conversation.
Yes, just a little bit. And I was having fun just listening.
Lord knows I could just keep talking.
I don't know if I have anything to contribute.
Totally fine.
Yeah, I do hope that my horror-ish kind of stories have always been short stories, and I always write them not knowing where they're going myself.
Right.
I just start writing them, and they end up that way. It's not like I set out to write a horror story. I set out to write a story about a situation, and it just kind of
goes from there.
Goes
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. Now, what are your guys' take on like kids horror? Like, for example,
like Goosebumps.
yeah, like Goosebumps. Now, I've never read a Goosebumps book.
I
Okay.
love Goosebumps when I was a kid.
I
See,
never.
do they usually end with the main character dying?
No.
I know.
Okay.
But they do have twists.
Yes, they do have twists. I've never read Goosebumps, but I read a lot of R.L. Stein's The Babysitter, or not The Babysitter, Fear Street. I read a bunch of the Fear Streets.
Oh, I never read it. Never heard of
Yeah,
it.
R.L. Stein wrote a book a week for like 20 years or something like that. He wrote over 400 books.
Wow.
And it was
Sounds right. I
The
read
Fear-
I believe is the term.
Yeah.
there was Fear Street and the Goosebumps, and there was a couple of other series in there, and he very, very prolific author. And he wrote them for kids, and they were creepy. There was a lot of fear of the dark, fear of fog, fear of the unknown,
Right.
and nobody ever died.
Yeah. Okay, because I was thinking of it like, do you remember the show Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon back in the day?
Yes.
Now, I remember a lot of those things ended with like the main character like dying and stuff, and I remember like being like freaked out. I mean, some of them ended like good, but I remember
Right.
there was one where like this kid gets like sucked into a river and he drowns, and I'm like, whoa, kids are watching this. I don't know. I've been interested in writing a horror book for children, but or for young like preteens or whatever, but I don't know how to go about it because I've never read
Did,
genre.
did you guys see the interview with Neil Gaiman that was just out
Did
about scary stories for children?
No.
He said that he loved the original fairy tales, Grimm's Brothers, things like
Right.
that. So,
Yeah.
have any of you ever read the original Grimm's Brothers?
I've heard some of them like they end horribly. They're just
Oh, yeah.
so
Like-
disgustingly gross.
Yeah.
A lot of their, eyes popping out, boiling in the oil,
Yeah.
being stabbed to death. The Little Mermaid killed herself.
Yeah. Someone was made to dance around in red hot iron shoes until they died.
Yes, they were very, very terribly messy and horrible. These are children's stories.
Yeah.
These are not for adults. These were for children. And so he said, I grew up on these things. I loved them as a child. They creeped me out. And I think they made me a better person. And he said, don't hold back from children because that's what they want. And a lot of his stories are for children, and he's not afraid to pull a punch. He'll kill a character.
Yeah. I loved that interview.
In the
Mhm.
time of the old Grimm tales, a lot of those were meant to be cautionary tales. That's why
Right.
a lot of them were about the enchanted forest, because it's like,
Don't go into the woods, kids.
yeah,
Right.
in actuality, don't go into the goddamn woods because there's bears and wolves, and you'll get lost, and you'll get eaten and die, and I'll be out another kid, and harvest is coming, and I need help with the farm.
So why don't we do that now?
Right. Well,
Asshole
now we have
father.
Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan as horrific cautionary tales.
We could do a modern
so
fairy
fair.
tales. You know,
So-
what would be equal to not going into the woods in modern day?
Don't go into the city.
Don't
Don't go
into
into
the club.
the-
Well, that's urban
Well,
legend. That's like every urban legend you've ever heard of.
Right.
Flashing your lights at the, in the night and like going out into the woods. Like that's our horror movies right now.
Right.
That's our modern fairy tales. Yay! Don't go into a cabin in the middle of the woods alone at night because you will be killed while you're having. Oh, and that's the other thing. Don't have unprotected sex because you'll be killed.
Or get pregnant, which is almost as bad.
Or fall asleep.
Pretty bad.
Because you'll get pregnant and then they'll kill you and your baby. It's like,
It really isn't.
Or he'll
how
end up
it
being
is
the
like that.
devil.
yeah.
Ooh, the devil. If you're interested in doing a horror story for the chitlins, Zach,
Yeah.
I would recommend not holding back, but also if you're worried about doing too much, I think it's okay killing characters, but more, I think it's the amount of violence involved. So if you get the point across that they die without going into details about the gore, you know
because
what I mean?
I've never been a fan of the gore, and I feel like you can really portray fear and horror without going into the blood and guts.
Because it's like, let's say they're exploring.
They get sucked into a spider hole
like-
or something.
Yeah, or they're exploring like a castle or something, and one kid falls through, and he grabs onto the edge, and the other kid like tries to grab him, and then his hand slips, and they just falls, and then just disappears into the blackness.
Ugh.
It's kind of just assumed, like, oh my god.
What's funny though is
bring up Dylan Perry's.
the readers would be reading that going, oh, I wonder when he's going to come back into the story, and then he just never will.
Bring up
So
Dylan Perry's comment, which said, Dylan said, so true about making the reader care. Look at slasher movies. Most that I've seen are filled with characters you don't care about or even like, so when they start dying, it doesn't elicit much of a reaction. If anything, you're rooting for the villain to get them. That's kind of
why are you
sadly
going up
true.
the stairs? You know what? Go up the stairs because I hate your ass and I want you dead.
And I think that some that are considered sort of like classics of the genre, or at least modern classics or whatever, I'm not necessarily into them, but it's easy to see that they didn't do that. Like, for example, in the Saw had a lot of problems in terms of filmmaking and whatever, but at least I got on board with Cary Elwes. He was a character who you were like, oh no, make it. I want you to kind of get it out. And another interesting thing about that is that a lot of the violence and whatnot, the actual gore, happens off screen. Not all of it, but a lot. Whereas in the rest of the franchise, they're just like, no, rip his face off right in the camera. Like, do it in 3D and have blood splatter on the eyes of the 3D glasses. Like,
I really thought the first movie was well done, and then they lost me entirely with the second one.
right, exactly.
The third one was okay. It was a little more
Which
reminiscent.
movies are these?
The Saw movies.
Oh, I didn't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only saw 4 and it was terrible.
The first one's the best. It's really good. I mean, as far as it's just a good movie, and it's not just all about the gore.
So I had a point. The Zach asked if R.L. Stine ever killed characters. I looked up the plot of the very first one, and it's called The Dead House. It says once a year they must have the blood from a freshly killed person to sustain the living dead existence for another year. So, yeah.
Right, but my main question was, do they kill off your main character? Like, in the end, is the guy that you're reading
Probably.
about dead?
Probably not the main character, but people do die.
Yeah.
And it sounds like...
Yeah, like I said, they have twists and stuff. I remember one about
Big burly bearded man.
and that one was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was just like he would just sneak up behind you and then rummage through all of your things.
Rummage through all your things.
Because that's what it looked like he was doing.
He was rummaging through his things, but okay.
You're just not paying attention, so he doesn't.
No,
get the
the
joke.
reader doesn't know that. See,
I'm paying attention. F you.
No, there was one about somebody's dad was growing plants in his basement, but the plants were like body parts, and he was making like people out of like the plant parts, and it was like replacing
What?
the other people. Yeah, and it was just really creepy one. And by the end, you thought that the main character had like overcome the danger, and he kind of went outside and like slumped down like on a hill.
Sorry, it's really like getting over what you're actually saying. It sounds like somebody's brushing their teeth against their microphone.
That would be.
Chrissy muted herself. We know who it was, Chrissy. Sorry, carry on, Scott.
And so in the end, like when you read it, you think that he's overcome, you know, the danger and all that, and then the main character comes out and sits like on a hill, and this little flower like nudges against his leg and says, "It's me. I'm really your sister. Please, you have to help me." And he's like, and then it's like end of book.
Nice.
So I mean, it's like stuff happens, and I mean, character. I to my memory, because I read so many. We did lose characters in those books, and a lot of the time they were really creepy. I think one of the worst ones for me, or one of my favorite, I should say, because it creeped me out just the most, was it's called Monster Blood, and it was very blob, like it just So
I think an important thing that I don't know that we've stressed enough so far in the discussion is that the unknown and unseen is usually scarier than seen. And this is like, I mean, that's obviously a thing in horror movies as well as books and writing, is that like Cloverfield lost all, you know, scariness once you saw the monster. They were smart enough to only show you the whole monster at the end. So until then, you're like, it's a big Godzilla thing, but what the hell is it? And I mean, the same is true with like so many classics. The Shining is like, you're still just like, you don't know really what's going on until the end, and even then, of course, the ending is sort of like, I mean, well, some people debate it, and some people are like, no, it's this thing. But
I'm actually a big fan of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Really?
I think
I don't do horror. I don't watch scary stuff.
What I like about those movies are masters of the subtle, which is exactly what you're talking about, Garrett. It's there's no gore. It's the little things, the footsteps coming up the stairs, the things like that, and they are also really good at, in the first like 15-20 minutes, establishing the characters and making you care about them. I mean, they make it fast. Everybody's so charming. You instantly get drawn in. And so when the creepy stuff starts happening, it just
Yeah. And those are the scariest what do you call it? Supernatural episodes too. I'm sorry I'm talking about it a lot, but I've like been watching the whole series over the last couple of months. But those are the scariest. Yeah, those are the scariest episodes where my wife is like clinging onto my arm, and I'm like sitting on her shoulders, and it's like you don't know what the monster is at all, like, and it's very confusing. And see, the thing is that once you find out, oh, it's a vampire, then you're like, well, Sam and Dean are gonna kill it. But when you don't know, you're like, what is it? It's gonna hurt them because I don't know. Like, they've killed vampires, they've killed ghosts, they've killed this, that, and the other thing. But when, like, it's always creepiest. Dude, there was one episode, I forget what season it's in, but it's in like season 5 or something like that. And something is happening in this house, and they come in and they do their thing. They're like, they look around. It's not a demon. Huh, that's weird. And you're like, of course it's not a demon. It's a ghost. I saw the opening scene. It's a ghost.
Oh.
You know the one I'm talking about.
I think I do.
Dude. And then they pull out their little ghost scanning thing, which detects like the sort of disturbance that ghosts leave. And they're like, oh, it's not a ghost either. And that's when you start to go, well, then what the hell is it? And then, like, the kid sees it again, and you're like, no, I'm telling you, that's a motherfucking ghost. And they're like, no, it's definitely not a ghost. And then this is the most terrifying moment in the entire series. This was the scariest moment in the whole series to me. Ghosts can't cross lines of salt, so they put everybody in the kitchen, and they do all the things with the lines of salt, and then the thing shows up, and you're like, motherfucking ghost, told you. And it starts walking toward them, and you're like, motherfucking ghost? and then it just steps over the line of salt. And in that moment, I was just like, what the holy F? Like, that was the scariest thing in the whole fucking series to me. It's actually a pretty good series.
For me, something that what TV show really got it for me was Don't Blink on Doctor Who.
Oh, and Doctor Who? Yes!
That
totally.
scared the crap out of me.
I liked
I love that.
when they had all of the weeping angels. They had a whole spaceship filled with them.
Right. Yeah, that was also a really good one. But just the concept of you can look at something and it's a statue, but if you blink or you look away for just a second, that statue has changed and it's coming at you, but now it's a statue again that you're looking at it.
Yeah.
And only when you're not looking at it is it coming at you. And it's like...
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying because especially when there's multiple ones and you can't keep your eye on all of them.
But Doctor Who has a habit of that, though. I mean, they have the one that don't blink. They have the other one that's the silence, where if you turn away, you can't remember they're even there. And they have a lot of them like that. Where
that one was a good one, too.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that one.
And that, again, taps into the concept of the unknown. Is
Exactly.
Like, once you see, if you see the thing, then you're like, I can run away, I can try to kill it, I can da-da-da-da-da. But it's the concept of when I'm not looking, it's doing things.
Yeah, and the one that Chrissy just mentioned where, like, you see it, and you're like, you can talk to it, it's this alien-looking thing, but right when you look away from it, you don't remember that you saw it. And I remember in one of them, here's a spoiler alert, one of them, the woman was making a little mark every time she interacted with one of these. And she, like, makes a mark, and then she turns around, and she forgets, and then she like, looks in the mirror, and she's covered in marks.
Yeah, she got marks in
and I'm
every...
just like...
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're getting creeped out.
Yeah, seriously, I'm sort of like, Anyway, we're pretty much close to time.
We're on borrowed
time. On a bit delay. What, Chrissy?
So we're on borrowed time.
We're on borrowed time. So, but this has been fun. This has been good. This has been creepy.
Yeah. I might start writing a horror idea out.
Do it.
I will.
See, if you want to have good horror, just have Garrett follow you around.
With that sound effect on a phone. Just...
interfere with your daily life.
I think if you're going to write horror, you should go read a bunch of it. Personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God! So it just cracked me up. This girl in writing Facebook group that I'm on. I might have even told this story before, but like basically is like, I want to write this great sci-fi piece and everything, and we were like, oh, cool. Like what's it like? Space opera, sci-fi, and she like gives a couple details about the plot. Oh, so like kind of like an Ender's Game, or is it like more of a Starship Troopers? I haven't read those books. Wow. Oh, dude, you should totally read those books. No, I don't read sci-fi. I really don't like it. It's like there's no good sci-fi out there. Like I've never read a sci-fi book that I liked, and it was just like.
So why do you want to write it?
Hey, that's me in epic fantasy, and I write Realm Keepers.
Yeah, but that's different.
There's a couple fantasy I like, but. Yeah.
By the way, how's Riddlemaster going?
Oh, so good. It is probably It's probably the best fantasy book that I've started this year, actually.
Awesome. What chapter are you on?
I'm pretty sure 3.
Yeah, cool. Thought you might be.
Yeah.
Scott, you really got to get Riddlemaster, by the way, because I want you to finish Riddlemaster before Zach.
He just needs a day with it. I'll tell him I'm on the last chapter, and then he'll be like, okay, I'll go get it.
Yeah, bam.
Right.
It'll still take me a couple weeks.
I'm kind of waiting.
Because Zach started the Riddlemaster before Scott was even on the podcast. Incidentally, Zach started Riddlemaster before we were working on Ninjabread Man. So maybe if he finishes Riddlemaster, I'll finish Ninjabread Man.
Nope.
Actually, I will make you that pledge right now. If you tell me that you finish,
I don't believe you.
Okay, but if you tell me Riddlemaster, I'll sit down and I will put everything else aside. Kids, wife, rent. I will put everything aside and I'll finish Ninjabread Man.
Really?
Yes.
And wait, we need a time frame here. When I tell you, how long will it be until you give me?
Within a day, within 24 hours.
Good deal.
But I'm going to quiz you to make sure
That's
that.
totally fine. I'll read it tonight.
All right, good. All right, awesome.
I feel like I'm
well-
present for a great moment.
I know, right? The day the pledge happened.
People should watch our Twitter feeds because I will be posting about that.
Nice.
All right. With that, any other tremendously salient points before we wrap up?
When it comes to writing horror, also don't forget about the mentality of the character. Not everybody has to react freaked out. There can be that moment of disbelief or where the danger isn't processing right away.
That's right. Excellent.
Totes.
And don't blink.
And don't blink.
And with that, I will call an
And
end.
happy Halloween.
And happy Halloween, everybody. The next time we see you, I will be reporting on Kamikaze, as well as talking about, it's my topic next week. Good question. I don't know what we're going to talk about. But we'll talk about it next week. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Zach is on Twitter at ZCBulger. Scott is at theshroudbetween.com, and Chrissy is at chrissymoss.com. We're the Storytelling Podcast. See you next week. Good night.
Goodbye.